Every home has one. It's that phantom to-do list, right? The one that just seems to grow all on its own. It's full of those little drips and squeaks and cracks that you swear you're going to get to this weekend. So, what are the most common culprits on that list? Let's take a look at why people are finally calling in the pros.
Oh, of course it does. I mean, this is the universal battle cry of owning a home, isn't it? That little drip, drip, drip from the kitchen sink that seems to get louder in the middle of the night. Or that one cabinet door that just refuses to close all the way. They're small, sure, but man are they annoying, and they pile up so fast.
So what are the biggest offenders on this never-ending list? Let's actually dive into the most common reasons people finally give up and pick up the phone to call for help.
All right, so topping the charts, no surprise here, are plumbing issues. Leaky faucets and running toilets, they're not just annoying, they're literally money going down the drain from wasted water. Next up, light fixtures. And this one is less about being hard and more about, safety. Most of us wisely decide that messing with electrical wiring is maybe not the best idea. Then you've got drywall repair for all those accidental bumps and scrapes, and of course, doors and cabinets that don't line up because houses settle and wood swells. And finally, the classic gutter cleaning. It's messy, it's a little dangerous, and it's a seasonal chore a lot of people are happy to outsource.
And you'll notice a theme here, right? We're not talking about massive, complex renovations. This is all about practicality. Homeowners call for help on these tasks because they're common, sometimes urgent, or they just need a very specific skill to avoid turning a tiny fix into a huge, expensive headache.
Which brings us to the next big question. Why these problems? Why do these specific things seem to pop up over and over and over again? What's the root cause? Let's dig in a little bit. Well, the number one reason, plain and simple, is just wear and tear. Think of it as the natural aging process of your house. Every single time you turn a handle, open a door, or flush a toilet, you're contributing to this slow, steady breakdown. But it's not the whole story. Sometimes a bad initial installation or things like high humidity can make these problems show up way sooner than you'd expect. It's not a sign your home is poorly built, it's just a sign your home is being lived in.
And this right here, this is the dilemma every single homeowner faces. You could try to fix it yourself, sure, but that can be risky, especially with electrical or plumbing. It can eat up your entire weekend, and let's be honest, it often requires some special tool you don't own and will never use again. On the flip side, a professional, they're trained for safety, they work efficiently, they show up with all the right gear, and they have the experience to figure out what's really wrong the first time. So a lot of the time, hiring a pro actually saves you time, stress, and, even money in the long run.
Okay, so you've made the call. You're bringing in a pro. What happens next? Well, the whole process is probably a lot more straightforward and transparent than you might think.
The path to getting things fixed is usually pretty clear. It all starts with an initial inspection, where the handyman comes and actually looks at the problem. Next, and this is important, you should get a written estimate that breaks down the cost for parts, labor, and a clear timeline. Then they do the actual work. And finally, before they leave, they'll test everything to make sure it's all working perfectly. The whole thing is designed to be clear and reliable, so you know exactly what you're getting.
Now, when it comes to cost, it usually works in one of two ways. For simple, predictable jobs, like that leaky faucet, you'll probably get a flat-rate price. For trickier issues, it might be an hourly rate, but it'll often come with a clear cap, so there are absolutely no nasty surprises on your final bill.
So, we've covered the what, the why, and the how. But what does the future hold for taking care of all these nagging little repairs? Where is this all headed?
This quote points to a really fascinating trend. I mean, technology is changing everything, right? And that includes home repair. The idea is that you could just hop on a video call, show a handyman the problem, get an initial diagnosis, and maybe even get some simple advice before they ever have to step foot in your house.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. As our homes get smarter and our to-do lists somehow get longer, could the first step to finally fixing that leaky faucet be as simple as just joining a video call? It's a pretty interesting future to think about.